All right, all right. Okay, okay. Okay, 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 okay. Yun, no? Booyakasha! Welcome back everyone sa paborito nyong podcast, pinakabalahura, pinaka-controversial at pinaka may puso na broadcast. Well, pwede rin. Podcast. Thank you so much guys sa lahat ng mga nag-respond sa ating, let's be honest, a little bit emotional, a little bit sincere, a little bit galit, a little bit righteous na intervention natin kahapon. Some of the comments you have guys made, lahat ng comments actually maganda, but some of the comments you guys made were really, really touching, including especially dun sa mga ibang kaibigan natin na kakamping, na nagigets din nila saan tayo galing, na talagang dapat wala tayong mga self-appointed, self-proclaimed malaki boloy na gatekeepers na hindi pwede na kayo lang pwede magsabi anong pwede discuss, anong hindi pwede discuss. And speaking of which, nababash na naman tayo over the past 24 hours over doon naman sa pinost natin kay EJ Obiena. So bawal pala mag-praise kay EJ Obiena kasi shade daw yan doon sa kabilang kampo. Even if kanina may pinost naman tayo na tuwang-tuwang-tuwa tayo dun sa picture ni Kaloy. I think he looks amazing dun sa picture. I congratulated my good friends, especially si Anton, the editor-chief of Tatler, for this beautiful, beautiful picture that I think is really a befitting tribute to our wonderful. Di ba? Yung mga nagsabi na dapat pag naka-crop top ka, may abs ka. Eh, tignan naman yung abs ni Kuya. Talo pa yung abs ko. Hindi pa bumalik abs natin. Hindi, medyo papunta na dyan. Di ba? Napakaganda nung yung ginawa ng Tatler Magazine. Ito guys. Ganda. Sobrang ganda. Sobrang ganda. Sobrang ganda. Golden, nice, chic, simple, not exaggerated. And you can see there his gymnastic skills, his great physique, and then yung itsura niya, 'di ba? Seryoso, no nonsense para sa bayan, and most importantly, the double gold. So there's no question absolutely he's the greatest Olympian we have had, and arguably not only the Philippines, in the entire ASEAN region. So talagang guys, all respect to Tatler Magazine for giving a befitting, all right, for giving a very befitting tribute to our great Olympian and all of that. So yun lang, just let's just be clear about those things, guys. So no need for folks try to shut down in discussion. Alam naman yung mga yung mga nagkakilala sa atin. Kung 6 years na nga ng wait lang. Kung 6 years na nga ng mga DDS and all didn't shut me down. There's no way that sorry guys, medyo nakapasok tayo. There's no way that itong mga, a bunch of, triggered kids and all of that are silence and us and all of that. Anyway, going back to this guys, may mga nag-comment na, Richard, bakit ganito? All over the place, ganyan. Like, wait lang, guys. If you want a serious version of us, you can watch our lectures in the Harvard Law School. You can drop by lectures in UP. You can watch our TV program. By the way, kagabi, lumabas na yung interview natin with Sir David Nye. Of course, we had him on our RRM show. But ito yung more serious version naman dun sa View from Manila sa One News TV5 show natin. You can check that for free. Alright, for free on YouTube. I will also share, guys, I will also share, guys, yung mga ano niya, no, yung highlights from that. Wait lang guys, medyo tanggal lang tayo na konti. May mga nag-comment din, sir, bakit purong pinapansin lang mga trolls? Actually hindi. Yung mga trolls ang kino-call out natin. Just to remind everyone na we're gonna watch these spaces kasi we wanna have a safe space. Ayun natin yung binababo yung espasyo, binababo yung threads natin para lahat feel safe to express their opinion among others. You're more than welcome to disagree with me among other things, but make sure you back it up with evidence and proper argumentation and all. Lumaki tayong debater. So honestly, for every argument that I make, I can also counter-argue against that. So I'm more than open to hearing the other side of the point. So don't worry, guys. Actually, as I speak, I'm seeing your comments. I'm seeing your responses. I'm seeing your suggestions. So I really, really appreciate that. Now, before we go to our discussion today, because there are essentially three levels to our discussion today. First of all, pag-usapan natin, so ito nang gagawin natin ngayon, para na wala nang mga kumukontra dyan na bakit ganyan. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, guys, as we had a long conversation bakit Socratic ang method natin. 'Di ba? Yung parang literally punta ka sa agora, which is version ng palengke ng mga Greeks, and then you go and talk to people dialogical. Now, hindi na gets ng tao yung Socratic method, fine, I'll make it a little bit Aristotelian and I'll give you signposts. So una, pag-usapan natin today, yung mga kumakandidato sa mga matataas na position, especially yung mga vloggers, including kasama natin si Attorney Mark Gamboa running for Senate. But pag-usapan din natin si Rosmar, si Diwata, and this phenomenon of vloggers joining politics, right? Pag-usapan natin yan because these are the new celebrities or quasi-celebrities or self-proclaimed celebrities, whatever you want to look at it, who are trying to enter politics. And let's talk about that. Does this have space in our democracy? Pangalawa, pag-usapan natin, balikan natin ulit ang mga issues ng mga Dutertes because lumabas na rin yung survey or actually lumabas na yung confirmation ng social weather station na yung pinalabas na survey online ay actually legitimate. Pag-usapan na natin ng survey niyan because if this survey is correct, and kung i-triangulate mo yan dun sa dalawang surveys ng Okta and Pulse Asia, alanganin ng DDS. In fact, sobrang alanganin ng DDS na I know this is a bit facetious, but to a certain degree, if Digong doesn't run next year for Senate, it's very possible na mag 8-0 din sila. Pinagtatawanan nila yung kawawang opposition na intimidate, na narcotag, na lahat. Ngayon, baka silang mayari at ma-8-0 dito sa darating na elections. Alright? That's number 2. And then number 3, balikan natin ulit itong issue ng meron bang alternatibo? Yes, there's alternative and that's the good news we can talk about. Yes, of course, kasama din dyan yung mga vloggers. So, isama natin yung tatlo na yan. Alright, guys? So, this is how we're gonna do it. Of course, there's sometimes I'm gonna be more casual among other things. But sige na nga, para lang we don't give our haters additional fuel, I'm gonna do it slightly Aristotelian, then we switch back to the more dialogical Socratic method. Is that clear? Okay, thank you very much, classroom. Alright, going back to this, let me first start by saying thank you so much for all your prayers and love for Lola. Unfortunately, it looks like she's not doing as well as I thought, so that means I have to go back to Baguio as soon as I can. And thank God, as you can see, I feel slightly better than yesterday. As you can see in my picture kahapon, I just, by some chance, nakita ko yung comments and then yung videos ko. Grabe, you could see in my eye bags, in my complexion, talagang pagod na pagod tayo kahapon. And you could see na I was not at my 100%. So kanina, I just had to hit the gym a little bit to bring back a little bit of testosterone and all. So that God willing, I feel strong enough so that makabalik tayo sa Baguio. So please continue to pray and all. Let me also send our prayers and support dun sa ating mga kameta, mga supporters, si Ma'am Jocelyn, our prayers, our love and support for you. Hopefully, whatever you're going through, you come on the better side of things. Also, our gratitude and all to everyone who has been there for us. Si Ma'am Eden, si Ma'am Victoria, si Ma'am Rizani, si Ma'am Snoimi. Ang dami nyo, Sir Uy, ang dami nyo dyan, alright? There's so many of you that I can really thank for your continued support here. So shout out sa inyong lahat. Let me see at some point siguro we have to bring in a shout out episode. I just don't want to do it like others kasi 'di ba? Napansin ko parati kinukumpara tayo sa ibang tao, but parang I don't want to do it like other people. You want a serious version of me, go and watch the TV version. Go and watch, go and read my columns. Including column ko kanina about Tulfo sa mga other things, 'di ba? But here we're trying to have a dialogical approach. But sige na. Sige na nga, for the sake of it, sabi ko, isa-signpost ko muna para balikan natin. But first, I had to say thank you again sa lahat ng mga prayers and your support and love. And also, our prayers and support and love sa lahat ng mga supporters natin, especially yung mga talagang tuloy-tuloy yung support nila sa atin, unconditional support. Maraming beses, guys, na parang nag-iisip ako, tama ba itong ginagawa ko? Ang dami kong kailang gawin. Kagabi, until 4 a.m., I was finishing some research projects. I was finishing some proposals, among other things. At iniisip ko, you can imagine, guys, for academics, for researchers, for people like me, diba? So minsan inisip mo mababalanse ba natin lahat to na yung everyday na kailangan mo mag-vlog tapos yung day job mo tapos yung serious writing and other things. I still have to finish revisions for a very long manuscript. I have to start another book projects and other things. So I hope people also appreciate we're giving whatever is there in us. But sometimes syempre napapaisip ka rin, tama ba ito? Am I making any difference? Am I just pissing off people and making more enemies? But at the end of the day, two things keep on pushing us to do what is right. One is yung sense of duty and obligation natin. And I reminded everyone, pagdating sa amin, I believe in the role of public intellectuals and public thinkers, all right, or intelligentsia in the case of Russia, right? So you don't have to be Russian, French, or whatever to know that certain people, in fact, all of us as citizens have to have informed opinion on all issues. And yung mga people na katulad natin na may platform, may exposure, medyo nagbasa sa buhay, medyo may alam sa buhay, it's definitely within my realm of rights and duty to make public interventions on important issues. Now, if you don't like my argument, that's your problem, my friend. No one is forcing you to be on my platforms, and I'm more than happy to get rid of toxic people. Thank God we're still going to be number one podcast in this country and beyond because there's so many good people, good Filipinos, and good people all around the world who believe in what we're doing and who see beyond the shallow imperfections and zero production and all of the bardagulan that we do there. So maraming salamat, guys. Thank you very much for that. Now, let's go to the meat of discussion. Number one, okay, eto na. Eto na. So ngayon, alam niyo na lahat. Eto na talagang plano. Tatakbo na talaga si Mark Gamboa. Ayan, kanina nag-speech siya dyan sa after nag-file siya ng certificate candidacy niya for Senate of the Philippines. Talagang senador, di ba? Senador na senador. Si Rosmar Tan, yung Rosmar, yung TikToker, super TikToker na bumibenta ng daan-daan milyon na skincare among others na na-feature at dami na shock sa kanya. She's also running, I think in her case, counselor. I heard that Diwata, of course, the great Diwata, the Paris Queen, or King, sorry, also is considering party list. I think party list ito ng mga vendors, and Diwata is I think more or less sure to be one of their nominees, if not the first nominee. So many interesting things are happening as we speak. Ito na yung rise ng mga vloggers, okay? Rise ng mga vloggers and influencers entering the face. Now, just to be absolutely clear about this, hindi ito yung first time na nakita natin ng mga vloggers or influencers na pumapasok sa politika. As you can remember, guys, yung isa pa ito TikToker lang to. Bigla na lang sumikat ito over the past few months, ngayon tumakbo ng para sa election, di ba? Party list group Kamanggagawa. Ayan, ito. Itong guy na to.
Iba't ibang platforms, yes.
Ito,
I filed as the first nominee of Kamanggagawa party list. Kampihan ng mga maralita at manggagawa. Simple lang naman ang dahilan kung bakit po kami nag-file. Di pa ba tayo sawa sa klase ng politika na meron tayo ngayon? Magkakapatid, magkaama, mag-iina, pamilya ang namumuno sa atin.
Okay, so here, so you have a TikToker now running for office. So ito na talaga, it's getting interesting, no? So you have Mark Gamboa, YouTuber, you have TikToker, this guy, what's his name again? Now, running, it's not like we lack party lists that have anything to do with issues of labor, and dun sila party nila Luke Espiritu is running for Senate, mamaya pag-usapan natin yan, but maraming mga partido, whether sa Akbayan, whether Makabayan group, there are other different groups also running it, but this gentleman believes that you need a new group. Siguro mas magaling siya. So interesting, you're seeing more and more people. You're seeing Mark Gamboa also kanina, but nawala yung video ni Mark.
Ang panawagan.
Sorry, nawala yung si Mark. Sorry Mark, ikaw nga lumabas kanina. Honestly, I'll have to ask, I have to
gumawa ng clamor, gumawa ng following, and after that, doon po magpa-follow yung buwa ang buhay gaganda. Yun, burger kayo sa akin. So, thank you very much po.
Question for the
Ayun, no?
Politika or mga leaders na nakikinig po sa tao at nag-o-offer po ng mga magagandang solusyon at magagandang mga advocacies po.
Oy, 40 years old na yan, hindi yan bata, okay?
Po ay bagong mukha, bagong style. Tayo po ay lumaki na sa age ng social media. So gusto ko pong patunayan din na hindi mo kailangan ng sobrang daming pera o sobrang laking pangalan para po magwagi. Kailangan lang pure yung intention mo, and madadaan po yan sa social media at syempre po sa sipag. Yun, ang tagline ko po, kay Mark Gamboa ang buhay gaganda.
Okay yun Talo si Ma'am Cynthia dyan
Okay. Question from the media. Meron po. Blur. Sige, go ahead. Sandra Aguinaldo.
Uy,
Tama.
taray, Sandra.
Microphone, please. Thank you.
Sandra Aguinaldo, taray.
In the past kasi parang sinasabi nila na hindi nakapagpapanalo ng kandidato yung social media, yung lakas sa social media alone. Pero sa tingin mo paano mo gagamitin siguro yung exposure, social media, your followers para maipanalo yung election?
Siguro po sa panahon ngayon sa paglawak ng social media, bawat sulok ng bansa gumagamit na po ng Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I think we're in a good enough space right now po para gumawa ng ingay. Actually, doon po magsisimula Magsisimula din sa ingay. Gumawa ng clamor, gumawa ng following. And after that, doon po magpa-follow yung pong mainstream media, yung traditional media. And hopefully po, meron naman tayong network din all across the country. Doon po pumasok lang para tayo po ay magkaroon ng maganda-gandang laban at tsansa na makapasok po sa Senado.
Yun, no? My man!
Okay, pero pupunta
RRM with Senador. Naunahan pa si Ronald Llamas.
Sir, is there any specific bills that you have in mind
Yun, no?
kapag nanalo po kayo sa Senate?
So marami po tayong mga
Ateneo siya,
mga
guys, sa
advocacy,
development
mga
studies.
pinaglalaban. Nasa YouTube po natin, sa Models of Manila TV. Pero the first ones po in particular that I want to talk about, dahil tayo po ay nagre-represent sa mga content creators, online sellers at freelancers, ay gusto ko pong bigyan ng dagdag kapital yung pong mga online sellers, bigyan sila ng dagdag suporta, dagdag kapasidad, dagdag
Ba,
promotion
digital
para
economy.
po lumaki yung pong mga online sellers po natin. Dapat po hindi sila pahirapan, tulungan pa natin lumaki kasi sila po yung mga future na mga malalaking negosyante po ng ating bansa. In the same way po, ganun din, dagdag suporta para po sa mga content creators, sa mga freelancers, mas malawak ang internet sa bawat barangay, bawat sulok ng Pilipinas. Kasi yan po, yung pong mga opportunity to earn online. Naniniwala po ako,
Digital
yan po
economy.
sa pinaka malakas na paraan para po maangat sa kahirapan yung karamihan po sa ating mga kababayan. So, that is one. Pangalawa po, pagdating po sa fake news, dahil yan po ay yung isa sa
Yun, no?
nagiging problema po natin sa social media. So, gusto ko pong magtatag ng
Grabe
isang
naman.
fake news na
Edu Manzano sa 2045.
siya. Ang gagawin lang po niya, mag-monitor, magbantay, tapos pag meron pong mga makitang mga fake news, pwede po niyang imbestigahan, i-report sa Facebook, i-report sa YouTube.
Yun, no?
Grabe na po yung ginagawang pagpakalat ng fake news, pwede po niyang i-report sa NBI. Pero kailangan lang po
Uy, Mark,
merong
bakit
nagbabantay
hindi mo sinabi
sa
nung...
fake news. Merong masusumbungan yung mga tao.
Nagtatroll ako, no?
Ito, nagpapakalat ng fake news, nagpapakalat
Yun,
ng
no?
malisyosong mga
Yun,
news,
malisyoso.
mga-
Ayoko ng
mga
malisyoso. Marites.
AI na kung ano man. So, kailangan po merong opisina na ganun. Pangatlo, pangarap ko din
Uy, walang news,
magkaroon ng Philippine ICT High School. Okay, so siya po, lahat ng mga matatalino nating estudyante,
Vocational education.
pagdating po sa technology sector, so we could develop
Vocational.
yung mga software engineers, para hindi lang po tayo nako-consume ng mga social media, tayo na din po yung magiging mga, una po, mga empleyado ng mga Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and yung mga technology companies. But in the future, hopefully sila din po yung mga maging tech entrepreneurs natin para lumaki po yung technology sector natin. And lastly, gusto ko pong gumawa ng isang national social media plan. Mga gagamitin po natin yung pong mga social media to promote yung pong ating Philippine tourism, Philippine companies, Philippine brands, so Philippine artists.
Social media
We could,
strategy,
promote
national
them
social.
around the world. Ang naisip ko po, for example, mga artists like Beanie, SB19, pwede po natin pwede natin gamitin yung pong social media. The government could support para po mas makilala yung mga artists po natin sa ibang parte ng mundo. Similar po no sa ginawa sa Korea, di ba, yung mga K-pop nila and K-drama nila. So naniniwala po ako kung ma-utilize ng maayos, social media could be a great tool to promote everything that's wonderful about the Philippines. And lastly, ma'am, siguro po, gusto ko na lang ding sabihin, gusto ko pong magtulay. Okay? Gusto ko pong magtulay sa mga netizens po, iba-ibang mga paksyon, yung pong mga DDS, loyalista, kakampings, kami Iskonian, kung sino man yung iyong sinusuportahang politika, naniniwala po ako na kahit magkakaiba tayo ng politika, dapat po meron tayong respeto sa isa't isa, meron po tayong pagmamahal sa isa't isa bilang mga Pilipino. Yun. So kahit po magkalaban tayo, magkaiba tayo ng paniniwala, dapat po hindi nawawala yung pong respeto at pagmamahal dahil tayo po lahat ay mga Pilipino. So thank you very much po for that question.
Okay, salamat din po. Wala na pong tanong. Okay, Sir Mark, picture naman po ulit.
Thank you.
Tarayo! Tarayo! My man! Boom! That's it! Ronald! Sir Tornaga, naunahan tayo ni Mark. Wala na yung 0.6% movement natin. Naunahan na tayo. Hey, that's a ballsy move, man. That was a courageous move. I would say that.
Okay, salamat po, Sir Mark. Dito na
Oh.
po tayo, sir.
Okay. Alright guys, medyo binablock na ako ngayon ng TikTok dahil we're cross-posting from somewhere else. Ayan tayo. Ayan, sorry about that. Anyway, tanggalin na natin yan. Okay, para good na tayo ngayon. Okay guys, so let's talk about this first of all, no. So obviously, as I said, si Rosmar din kanina nag-announce na tatakbo naman siyang konsehal diyan naman sa Maynila. So so Mark is just one of many vloggers who are throwing their hat into the ring. Let me just say first of all, it's a very courageous move, right? In a sense that sobrang mahirap itong in fact, any position is so hard to run for nowadays. Ako, at the personal level, siguro if I were living, let's say, in I don't know, New Zealand or Sweden or somewhere like that, for sure by now I would have been, probably somewhere closer to their foreign ministry position or something like that, right? Or at least member of parliament. But alam natin sa Pilipinas, it's a very different world kasi sobrang mahal tumakbo. And then there's all of the vote buying and shenanigans and all of that. Reliance, saan ka kuha ng pera, pag kumuha ka ng pera sa ganitong mga tao, ano bang kapalit, mamaya pogo pa yan, mamaya sindikato pa yan, mamaya trapo pa yan, mamaya oligarchs pa yan, mga ganun. So, ang hirap niyan. So, unless you have tremendous amount of momentum and popularity and sure shot ka na diverse yung sources ng resources mo, then I think it's very risky to run for office and assume that you can be highly competitive, right? So for me, it's just really a big act of courage, a leap of faith, to run for any position, especially national position, Senate, and especially in this cycle, which is extremely, extremely difficult and pag-usapan natin shortly. Let me also say that nakita natin in the case of Mocha Uson in the previous election cycle, kahit nung panon ni Digong, si Mocha Uson ay 6 million followers on Facebook alone. Mocha Uson blog. Hindi ko paano naging blog yung Facebook page na. But nakita natin, that did not even translate into 50,000 votes or something like that. So, hindi, porque meron kang 1 million followers or 6 million followers or 10 million followers, that will automatically translate into votes. Because marami sa mga followers mo, assuming organic ito, hindi bot or whatever, marami sa mga followers mo ay baka hindi eligible to vote or hindi interesado bumoto or nanonood lang sa'yo, hindi dahil gusto ka or nanonood sa'yo dahil tuwan-tuwa sila sa'yo, nanonood sila dahil siguro gusto ka nilang laitin or gusto ka nilang i-follow lang para lang makita anong ginagawa mo or baka i-etsera lang kanila. Or, it is very possible na gusto ka nila bilang content creator, gusto ka nila bilang, I don't know, something, the consultant, coach, whatever, pero not necessarily believe sila na karapat dapat ka sa ganitong position. Or panglima, siguro sa tingin nila pwede kang tumakbo pero may mga iba silang gusto na mas higit sa'yo, right? So that's why there are multiple reasons why hindi necessarily translatable yung number of online following mo into number of votes. Kasi I heard some people saying, oh yan, may, let's say, kunyari, 200,000 followers ko online, gagawa ko ng party list, automatically, eto na, pwede na ako maging party list congressman. It doesn't work that way. Now, having said that, I think where Mark is coming from, and we will interview him later on properly on this, and I want to hear his side. I think Mark's point is there should always be someone who's first, right? in the case of Mocha Uson, well, alam natin si Mocha Uson, no offense, but she was really a DDS creation, right? So she was not really her own person. I think I can say Mark is far more his own person, and he's really doing this on his own. Um, I think Mark is also about just testing the waters, pushing the envelope, trying to break the sound barrier, right? And more importantly, ito yung sinasabi ni Ronald Llamas para, diba? Mamarkahan ka. Tignan nyo si Luke Espiritu, diba? Hindi nanalo, mukhang malabo manalo ulit based on the numbers we're saying. But that's not the point, right? Luke Espiritu, minarkahan niya yung, diba? Nagkaroon siya ng impression. He left a good impression on the public, especially dun sa mga debate. So siguro if Mark makes it to some debates and he can pull off some good interventions and all, who knows, right? So I think it's also about that. But more than that, there's always this wild possibility. There's always this wild possibility na magkakaroon ka ng a star is born moment, right? And we have seen that abroad. So actually, Mark, I remember a few months ago was telling me this case of a YouTuber in Cyprus who just as a joke said, sige na nga, tatakbo na lang akong European Parliament kasi parang binabash-bash na yung European Union, European Parliament. Then next thing you know, nanalo siya. At maraming mga Gen Zs and mga others ay sumuporta sa kanya as a form of protest vote. And we know with the younger voters also, especially Gen Zs, super iba yung kanilang mga preferences and approaches to things, right? And yes, good point. So see, I'm reading your comments. You think I'm just looking at the trolls? Hindi yung trolls na, I'm just calling them out para malaman nila, malaman na lahat, hindi ito biro. This is a safe space, all right? If wala kang capacity, right, to engage in proper conversation, you're more than welcome to leave. But going back to here, yes, Zelensky, right? Arguably the most courageous, successful warrior president, right? He oversaw the defense of Ukraine, costing the life of 500,000 Russians. Although most of these Russians were just some poor people who were forced into Putin's war, right? But nevertheless, yes, that guy was a comedian. He ended up as a president. Next thing you know, he became a wartime president. And some would say the Churchill of the 21st century or something like that. So there's always also that wild possibility. And siguro sa tingin ko, Mark has been thinking about this for quite some time, and he had his 40th birthday. So hindi ito bata, 40th birthday niya, graduate ito ng Ateneo, edukadong itong tao, kasama niya kaming parati ni Ronald, so he has an understanding of the lay of the land. So yun. So I hope people understand perhaps where is he coming from. But in general, guys, is it good for vloggers among others to come in? I spoke in the case of Mark Gamboa, but honestly, I'm not very sure about the other vloggers. It's very possible the other vloggers there, I'm not saying who, or I'm not dropping names, pero posible ibang vloggers ay ano lang sila ng ibang politiko, or front lang sila, or mamaya pampagulo lang sila, or pampakit lang yung gagawin nila, right? So I'm not sure if that's necessarily for the best. I mean, I'll just be honest. More than 30 years ago, nung nagkaroon tayo ng multi-party system, pumasok ito mga celebrities. Now, there are people who were ex-actors, let's say like Erap Estrada, but who went through the motions, 'di ba? Naging mayor, naging senador, naging vice-presidente, naging presidente, lahat ginawa. Pero marami ng mga artista na biglang sumabak lang sa opisina na walang, no offense, not necessarily, bastions of knowledge of governance and politics and law, right? And that goes back to the fundamental problem na meron talaga tayo sa politika natin dahil wala tayong mga totoong political parties. I have friends, right? People like me, 30s, right? Millennials or even younger millennials and even Gen Zs. I remember I was in Germany the other year in Munich and may nakakausap pa ng mga kabataan, like 20s lang. And then biglang, wow, member of parliament, Green Party. And surely these people became members of parliament, Green Party, na hindi dahil may pera sila or whatever, or may pangalan. No, they were part of the Green Party machine. And through the organization, and through the hard work, and through the constituency building, etc., ng Green Party, in their 20s, they were able to end up in the national parliament of Germany, Bundestag. Right? You can do that in real mature democracies because they're real mature political parties. Yan ang wala tayo sa Pilipinas. So yung sinasabi ni Mark kanina na it's about kailangan mo mag-ingay, kailangan mo mamarkahan, you have to make the right noise, you have to send the right signal, etc. It's precisely within that context because we live in a world, guys, kung saan hindi talaga basihan ay political parties or platforms. Ang basihan talaga dito is, are you making the right noise? Are you touching on the pulse of the people? Are you understanding ano bang hiningi ng tao? Are you seeing a vision of the future? Are you charismatic enough to make people believe in what you're running for? And can you leverage that into getting enough votes to win office in the year to come? So it's a very interesting situation. But nevertheless, to be honest, Mark Mark aside, I'm still not very sure, 100% sure, because kung ano yung naging kritisismo sa mga artista, some would say you can make even more criticism of influencer types entering politics. That doesn't mean they shouldn't enter. And let's be honest, in many ways, I'm also an influencer now. You can see that behind me, right? But let's be honest, as someone who was an outsider and then entered this world, thanks to Mark among others who encouraged me, said, Richard, sayang naman, bakit ka aasa ka lang dun sa mga plataforma ng iba, sa ibang TV, sa ibang newspapers, gawa ka ng sarili mong platform. So thank you so much kay Mark. So the reason we have this whole meta world, deep dive world, part of that is because the encouragement of people like Mark. So thank you so much to you, sir. But going back to this, I'll be honest. Ang dami dyan mga vloggers and mga other things na I don't know what the heck they're trying to do here, right? Padamihan sila ng followers, padamihan sila ng content. And I'll tell you what, dun sa mga henyo who are raising issue about bakit Richard ganyan, like, guys, you don't know how difficult it is to actually make people listen to you for an hour, because that's what we have. You want to see our so one of the things I'm extremely proud of is if you look at our Spotify, for instance, people listen to us for 40 minutes straight. All right? 40 minutes. We have attention of people. You're talking about thousands and thousands of people listening to you for 40 minutes. You know how difficult it is? You know how difficult it is to keep people listening to you beyond first 10 seconds? Forget about like forget about just forget about, 5 minutes, forget about like 1 minute, 4 minutes. I'm talking about, guys, yung first first 10 seconds lang, sobrang hirap to keep people interested in you. Because, let's be honest, maraming tao dyan ay bored lang. Maraming tao dyan ay they're just scrolling through their phone and looking for something that keeps them interested and going. And in a few seconds, parang mga bata na, kita mo yung mga bata, ganyan lang, slide lang. You know how difficult it is to keep people's attention? Kaya yung mga nagmamagaling, ganyan, like, you do what I've been doing for 1 month and let's see if kaya mong gawin yan. Alright? Let me, I'm telling you, it's so difficult to do that. Okay, tell me about Pakute and all of that, but you tell me if you can do 5% of what I've done in the past 2 or 3 years, and then come back to me and you'll realize how difficult it is to keep people's attention. Because, dati, pagdating sa celebrity, ang kailangan mo daanan is yung, alam mo na, mahirap yung maging artista, mahirap maging journalist and anchor, di ba? It's a very select world, ang dami mga filtration mechanisms, ang dami mga clicks, ang dami mga dapat daanan, and I don't need to say more. There's some controversial elements also, sino nagiging ganyan-ganyan, yung power of directors, power of producers, di ba? Yung mga Harvey Weinstein, okay, alam niyo na yan, di ba? Now, it's not anymore like that. Hindi mo na kailangan dumaan sa mga producers, sa mga powerful directors, sa mga ganyan. Mag-ingay-ingay ka lang, at kung sino ang pinakamaingay, sino ang pinaka, yung mga speed style, yung mga ganon, the Paul brothers, mga ganyan, and then you'll make it. That's so, the people who are in the vlogger world are even more next level in terms of exag and OA and to get attention than celebrities, because it's not their fault, because that's how the platform is built. You have to keep people's attention beyond 5 seconds, 10 seconds. All right? So that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's how difficult the situation here is. Okay? So that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. Kaya nga sabi ko, I'm not really sure about a lot of these people who are vloggers among other things, because I have to check their background. Are these people are serious? Are these people are magaling lang to get attention, or these are people who really know what they're talking about? Diba? So that's what I'm saying. Madali naman mag-viral once in a while Pero to consistently do things, especially when you're not doing viral all the time, that takes a lot of tenacity and dedication and a lot of things. It's a craft. It's a craft. It's a craft. Now, we have some friends dun sa kabilang channel, essentially they just replicated their TV show and they put it here. Okay, good for those persons. I'm happy for them. But ako, I believe in something else. Sabi ko, you have to have different dimensions of you. So on TV, oh, thank God, you have TV version, you do like that. You have this vlog version, you have to do this, etc., etc. That's one. Now, second part, balikan natin ito. One of the other things we also notice with our politics, guys, is this tremendous amount of transformation na nakikita natin, guys, pagdating sa ating political landscape. If anything, what we're realizing right now is that the Dutertes are no longer as powerful as before. Totoo yan na mga Dutertes ay may solid base sa Mindanao. I think the numbers are absolutely clear. You're gonna see more than 90% support for Sara, 95% in the latest survey. Hindi mawawala yan. And then there's a Vismin vote, there's a Bisaya base, there's a solid South base. Hindi mawawala yan. So I think there's a quarter of the Philippine population, or at the very least around 10 to 15% of the Philippine population will always be there with Sara Duterte and the Dutertes at the national level. But is that enough for them to A, maintain their influence and power at the national level, and B, for them to able to survive itong onslaught from the other side? Galit yung mga kakamping sa kanila, galit yung mga administration loyalist sa kanila, daming galit sa kanila, diba? And that's where I'm having questions about the viability of the DDS camp in the upcoming elections. So sabi ko, it is quite possible na actually ma-8-0 din sila. Nung 2019 pinagtawanan nila ang opposition dahil kahit isa sa kanila hindi nanalo sa Senate elections, and let's not even talk about what's happening. Let's not even talk about what's happening, what's happening, sorry, ang dami nang message sa akin, gano'n, like, for heaven's sake, guys, let me do my thing, I'll get back to you guys, okay? Sabay-sabay, like, I'm like multitasking and everything like that, okay? Anyway, no comment, later na akong salita. Okay, going back to this, guys. So, I'm not saying fall of Duterte's per se, but the decline of Duterte's is sufficient enough to be able to set the predicate for their potential fall. Kasi marami silang kalaban. Pero itong mga kalaban na ito ay hindi gagalaw all the way. Yung tinatawag na war of maneuver, yes. So ngayon meron tayong war of positioning. So pumuposisyon yung mga kalaban ng mga Dutertes, di ba? Through hearings, potential ICC coming na, pinagtatawanan tayo mga polvoronic na yan na, September, tapos na, October na, sa ICC, like, relax lang kayo. Okay, maybe not September, maybe October, maybe November, but it's gonna come, my friend, okay? Huwag kayong excited masyado. Papunta na tayo sa exciting part, alright? Relax lang kayo dyan, alright? Saan ulit yung polvoron video niya kay Marcos? Puro mga fake news lang sinabi ni. Ilang buwan sinasabi ni Buljak na meron silang mga ebidensya gano'n na wala pa rin lumabas. So, umayos naman kayo. Maya naman kayo sa sarili niyo. Puro kayong fake news. Kayo pang mag-ano sa amin. But anyways, going back to this. For the enemies of the Dutertes to go for the jugular and bring them down, for that to happen, guys, they have to be diminished significantly. Go down bare bones dun sa kanilang, let's say, 10-15% support or even less na sobrang confined geographically at wala ng national scale support. So, Sara Duterte is at what? Barely quarter, like 20% support pagdating dito sa NCR region. So the Dutertes are very, very weak in this part of the world. I'm sorry, in this part of the Philippines and the country. I had to just redo this TikTok here. That's one thing. But the other thing we're seeing here is that mukhang hindi tatakbo si Digong nationally, but Digong may, after all, consider running again for mayor of Mindanao. Now, as you can see, Digong is not very young anymore, to put it nicely. He looks very frail. He looks, to be honest, like he was not already very solid and robust when he was the president. Forget about now. But I think now he looks even more frail and all of that. So if you are Digong right now, siguro the best idea for you is to either run as mayor of Davao or be the kind of a de facto kingpin in Davao, right? But yun nga, Basta is not doing very well. It looks like Basta will be the one who'll run for the Senate, right? Considering he's not doing very well as a mayor. So Digong is most likely considering running for mayor. So in that case, you're left with a situation whereby baka kahit isa sa kanila hindi makapasok sa Senate. Because if you look at the survey by SWS, diba? If titingnan mo, I pinost ko actually kanina, diba? Yung sa survey sa SWS, what I found very shocking is, well, first of all, what I found shocking is that there's a huge spread in between the three major, hindi ko na yung mga consultants na nagpapanggap na survey agencies. Pero doon sa tatlo na medyo legit at kilala ko naman lahat, because Ranjit Rai, from UP, we're colleagues in UP. Ronnie Holmes, we're colleagues from Policia, we're colleagues in LaSalle before, and of course, Mangahas, Dr. Mangahas, we're colleagues naman in Philippine Daily Inquirer. So these people, I can vouch for them personally. They're legit people, all right? So dun sa mga bitter, whatever, ganun, good luck sa inyo. So if you look at the SWS survey, guys, all right, if you look at the SWS survey, grabe, if you look at the SWS survey, alanganin talaga ang mga Dutertes. Alright? This is crazy. This is crazy. Oy, Ma'am Chi, huwag ka naman huwag naman kayong, don't troll us, okay? Kala ko Ronald Llamas, Ronaldo para. Oh, Cristiano Ronaldo rin ako, nagkataon lang sinuot ko yan kasi ano yan, purple. Okay. Okay guys, back tayo. So if you look at the survey here, interestingly, Ben is not here. Ben is not here at all in the top 5 or even 10 or 12. So that already tells you na baka hindi siya sinama at all. Na kung sinama na si Ben Tulfo, iba ng complexion na to. But let's say for the argument, hindi tatakbo si Ben or hindi talaga siya kasama sa top 12. Which is ang layo dun sa isa na tayo siya for number 1. So this is Erwin Tulfo number 1, Tito Soto number 2, Pia Cayetano number 3. And then Digong is kind of there. And then Aimee, way higher here than anyone else. Lacson is here. Bong Revilla, he's here. Camille Villar is here, Binay is here, Lito Lapid is here, Pacquiao is here, and then there's De La Rosa and Bongo who are at number 11 to 13. Alright? Number 11 to 13 lang sila Bato and Bongo. So almost at the precipice of falling outside the Magic 12. Alright? So if Digong doesn't run, and then Bongo and Bato are struggling this way. Because remember, sa baba, umaakyat din yung iba. Ang dami pang iba na hindi pa nilagay dito. Paakyat sila Abalos. Meron pa yung mga ibang senatoriables na hindi pa kasama dito. Meron pang Ben Tulfo. Baka kung nilagay dito, wala na. Bababa silang lahat. There's a very high chance na kahit isa sa kanila hindi papasok dito. Basta is not even in the mix here. What's his name? The Polong is not even in the mix here. In fact, I showed you the other day, the two other surveys naman by Okta. Ito yung dalawang surveys by Okta and by Pulse Asia. If you look at these two surveys very interestingly, so sa Okta, it's Tulfo number 1, much higher preference rate. Also Tito Soto comes next. Then Lacson and Bongo. Lacson is consistently high. So mukhang si Panfilo Lacson, very high yung chance niya. And then you have Cayetano also there. Tolentino is much higher here. By the way, dun sa isa po, Tolentino, hindi pa sinama. Paakyat din yan. Admin yan. So if you're administration, you have the resources, you have the organization and all of that. And then, you have Lito Lapid, and then Digong here is actually number 7 to 15, and then is Bato de la Rosa. Alright? Then Abalos, and the rest are coming up. Again, wala sila Baste, wala sila Polong dito. Now, pupunta naman tayo sa Pulse Asia. Interestingly, it is Ben Tulfo and Erwin Tulfo also number 1, and then Tito Soto. So actually, nagmi-mirror yung dalawa. Right? So there's a similarity between Pulse Asia and Okta. So actually, wala si Ben. So sinama mo Ben Tulfo dun sa established, halos wala nang matitira sa mga DDS if, right, hindi tatakbo si Digong. Right? And even Digong, actually, if you look at the two other surveys, alanganin din si Digong. Alright? So forget about Baste and Polong, they're not even in the mix. Even speaking of Bongo, Bato, and Digong, the triple, three musketeers, or whatever you want to call them, alanganin din sila dito. Alanganin din sila. Bato, alanganin talaga si Bato. 11 to 14 siya sa Pulse Asia. Pababa siya ng pababa. Si Bato dito, 8 to 15 siya sa Okta. 11 to 13 naman siya sa SWS. So, again, I'm not saying mangyayari yung mga 8-0 sila, but it's not impossible. If anything, it's actually more probable than not if current trends continue. So actually, the Dutertes need something big and something big. In fact, if you're Duterte, maybe, all right, maybe baka kailangan mo pa ng ICC or something like that because that will allow you to present yourself as a victim. And maybe if you're Duterte at this point, you want some major crisis, scandal, among other things, pagdating sa administration para makaposition ka. Because as we speak right now, these are surveys, okay, Sir Bernardo, ayaw mo makinig ng survey, problema mo na yan, alright? Iko, tignan mo yung surveys, okay? Wala namang iyakan, okay? Hindi ko naman kasalanan ng lahat ng surveys na yan, pinapakita niya yung mga idol niya, medyo kulelat na, di ba? So going back to this, there's a high chance na baka kahit isa sa kanila hindi makapasa. And now, I don't want to talk about Amy Marcos because si Amy Marcos, may sariling ano yan, di ba? It's hard to pin down ano ba talagang kampo niya. May sarili siyang mundo, di ba? So, it's really Bato, Bongo, and Digong. And if Digong doesn't run, both Bato and Bongo, all of these all of these people are alanganin sila. Alanganin sila. So, I wonder, ano bang dapat mga strategy nila moving forward? Ayan, sasabihin naman ni Nor, sasabihin nila, joke down survey. O sige, joke ang survey. Anong paniwala natin? Yung mga kwentong barbero nyo? Yung mga kasyungan ng fake news, disinformation? Ano bang paniwala natin? Ay, mag-isip naman kayo ng mabuti. Kung mag-criticize kayo, ang galing-galing mag-criticize o magbigay kayo ng alternative. Last time I checked, practically all of our modern elections were predicted by Pulse Asia with more than 90% accuracy. Alright? So if you have something better than that, come please and convince me. Alright? So, ayusin nyo naman. Kung gusto nyo mag-comment or mag-criticize, ayusin nyo naman. Alright? Back it up with evidence, with data. Alright? So, I'm saying, this is a crazy situation, right? Who would have thought? Just 2 months ago, Sara Duterte had the chutzpah, right? Had the audacity. No, I don't want to insult the word audacity. Nasasabihin niya, alright, nasasabihin niya na 3 Duterte ang tatakbo sa Senado. Ngayon, kung hindi nga tatakbo si Digong, baka wala mang isa sa kanila papasok. Kahit si Bongo Bato nga, hirap na hirap din eh. Si Francis Tolentino nga, bumaliktad pa, pumunta pa sa kabila. Right? And this really brings me to the last part for discussion today because I have to attend to other things here. So what are the alternatives here? Sa isang banda sabi ko nga, alanganin yung mga ibang vloggers. Let's just park Mark for a moment and interview him later on. But maraming vloggers yan, honestly, I'm not really sure these are people who, but again, we're a democracy, right? Anything goes. Sino ba naman ako magsalita? Alright? Sorry, may standard lang tayo sa buhay. Yun lang. May mga konting alam tayo sa mga pangangailangan para mag-develop tayo dahil pinag-aralan natin mga ibang bansa at saka mga bansa na similar sa atin at saka yung mga development economics, blah, blah, blah. But never mind, right? Anything goes. But as I said, the good news is there's so many also people who are throwing their hat into the ring. Kahit hirap na hirap sila, but they may have some chance or they will have chance if you give them a chance. For instance, you can say something about the survey agency, but dun sa ano ni Publicus, 'di ba? Pasok si Kiko or may chance si Kiko sa Senate. I won't also rule out Bam Aquino making some strides. I think Bam Aquino is smart, he's young. The Aquino name didn't work for him in recent history, worked very well for him in the more distant past. But who knows? He can maybe turn things around like Rahul Gandhi. I'm not saying he's Rahul Gandhi, but there's certain buttons that he can push to remain competitive. And remember, Bam was the most competitive in the Ocho Derecho 2019. He was, I think, top 16 if I'm not mistaken or something like that. Anyway, and then you also have more progressive options, right? I think Calyodi is running. I think, wait lang, yung mga, yan. I think Calyodi is running. I think Luke Spirit is running. There are a number of other interesting people, more progressive people. Franz Castro, we had her in our shows running. You see, again, baka hindi ka 100% agree sa kanila. Baka hindi ka believe sa kanila. Or baka sa tingin mo, walang pag-asa mo yan kasi wala sa service. But, self-fulfilling prophecy yan eh. Right? Remember, these surveys are snapshots. And these surveys longitudinally give you an idea of trend line. So one trend line is pababa mga Dutertes. At the same time, the other trend line is pataas ang mga Tulfos. But the other thing that it tells you is that flexible and dynamic yung sitwasyon. Right? It's a political landscape that is very flexible and dynamic. And in that flexibility and dynamism, meron oportunidad dapat yung mga ibang grupo to make some noise, good noise, including for human rights, for due process, for fiscal prudence and responsibilities. Ang dami pang ibang bagay, guys, na pwedeng pag-usapan at pwedeng maging adhikain ng mga taong bayan. So please don't tell us na walang options. There are options and there are actually very, very good options there. Please don't tell us na hopeless case yan, wala nangyari. No, actually, if you look at the field, I won't be surprised. There'll be no Villar in the next Senate na bago. There'll be Mark still left, who once in a while will say something from the days of DDS and their projects and all. Kamusta naman yung 45 minutes behind natin, guys, from point to point in Manila, di ba? Um, uh, Possibly even Abby might not make it. They're doing well in one survey, but not so. I'm not so certain. So if you look at the survey by Okta and by Pulse, this is wild, di ba? Malabo. Wala si Villar, wala si Binay. Wala si Villar, wala si Binay. Doon sa dalawa. Sa SWS lang sila medyo competitive. All right. So, again, these are interesting. These are interesting developments. So, maraming mga malalaking pamilya who won't make it in the next race. But in the same breath, there could be some new names, new ideas, new advocacies, no? And new personalities, breakout personalities, who may win or may not win, but actually open the space, especially for 2028 elections. So please continue to pay attention sa mga nangyayari sa ating bansa. Of course, may mga clown show dyan. Of course, may mga nakakainis na bagay dyan. Of course, may mga nakakairita na mga ano dyan, epal dyan, mga ganun. But there's also a lot of good out there. Alright? You have to just make sure you throw out the bathwater, but don't forget about the baby. Alright? There is some movement in the country. So tuloy-tuloy lang. Let's just make this noise. Let's just push for reform. And you never know what are the possibilities that open up there. Kasi nakita natin all around the world. Biglang out of nowhere, yung ibang tao, naging presidente, naging prime minister, naging member of parliament, among other things. So this is what we're looking at, guys. This is what we're looking at. Alright? Okay. Ito. Sorry, medyo tinatanggal lang natin ng mga interesting na mga trolls dyan. Okay. On that note, thank you very much, guys. Salamat. Ay, habol ulit ako dyan. Kinukulit ako sa kabila. Thank you so much, guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Maraming salamat. Again, please continue to pray also for Lola and also our prayers and support also and best wishes dun sa mga followers natin who may have health problems or going through some recovery and other things. Thank you so much again. Thank you also for your prayers and love. And talk to you soon.